What is it that makes, within a seemingly perfect and happy and fulfilled marriage, one of the marriage partners want to go out and fool around? I'll let that one soak in for a couple of minutes and talk about the book I've pulled from the shelf this time is Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. And the translation I recommend is one by Lydia Davis. The cover of her book is at the beginning of this video. It reads like a modern novel. It's so well translated that you don't have the archaic language and expressions that you have. Translations today are just mind-bogglingly well done in bringing them into contemporary language. But let's talk about Emma Bovary and her husband Charles for a minute. Emma and Charles were well-educated people. They're middle-class French people living in the mid-1850s in France. Charles has had a previous marriage and married Emma, and he gives her pretty much everything that will fulfill her in a materialistic way. But something's missing. And if I were to answer my original question here, as succinctly as I can, it would be that what's missing is a lack of passion. And what I mean by that is there are things that escape us all because of the burdens of our materialistic life that we live in even today, and that were lived during this time in middle-class France. But to digress for a second, this book, because Flaubert wrote it in such a very frank way with his narrative and dialogue, talking about physical affairs, it was considered obscene, which probably had a lot to do with its popularity then and even now. And this style of writing was kind of trend-setting in the time, and it established this modern form of dialogue and narrative that really didn't change much until Ernest Hemingway brought the reader more into involvement with his stories. But to go back to Charles and Emma, you'll read the story and you will see that their life seemed perfect. They had a good middle-class life. Emma was able to buy pretty much everything that her little heart desired. They had a wonderful little child, a wonderful family life on the surface. But to give you a little bit of an idea of what I mean by this passion thing, I'm going to have to refer to one of her eventual suitors, a young fellow named Leon. And he is aware of the Bovary family life. He sees their family life as being very comfortable, very happy. Everything about it is just what he would deem as being perfect. He also sees Emma in that way too. But one little segment of the story here, I think, exemplifies what I mean by what's missing. And Leon is thinking about Emma and his attraction to her and what chances he has with her, which is zero at the time. So I'll read just a few sentences here. What madness, he would say to himself, and how can I reach her? Thus she seemed to him so virtuous and inaccessible that all hope, even the faintest, abandoned him. But by renouncing her in this way, he was placing her in an extraordinary situation. She was divested in his eyes of the fleshly attributes from which he had nothing to hope for, and in his heart she rose higher and higher, withdrawing further from him in a magnificent soaring apotheosis. Now, I think what Flaubert is trying to say here is that he is seeing the Bovary family and Emma in the abstract. He's not seeing them in all the contradictions, the conflicts, and all that is really part and parcel of what makes a vital human life. He's seeing that family life and Emma as a state of perfection, a state of stasis that is just perfect where it is. It has nowhere to go. And this is pretty much driven, I think, by the urge toward physical, materialistic emphasis in life. And this was the case in Flaubert's life. I think it was the reason why he just had to write this novel. Certainly the way it is in modern life for all of us. We're so constrained by the need to, in the encouragement we get for materialistic gain and all its many manifestations, that sometimes we just don't have time for those things that really make us human. And I think that's basically Flaubert's story here. And I hope if you read this book, if you read it before, read this translation, and I think you will have one more great literary epiphany that I think novels are famous for. Thanks. See you next time.